Welcome back to AI Unraveled, your daily strategic briefing on the business impact of artificial intelligence. It is Tuesday, January 6th, 2026. If you thought the hardware wars were cooling down, think again. Jensen Huang just broke his own rules at CES, unveiling Nvidia's next-generation Rubin chips months ahead of schedule to feed an industry that simply cannot get enough compute. But while Las Vegas celebrates the future, the world is grappling with a terrifying present. A massive AI disinformation attack concerning Venezuela has just proven that our reality is more hackable than ever. Also today, Amazon finally brings Alexa to your web browser, Uber unveils its custom robotaxi, and Boston Dynamics says its humanoid robots are finally ready for their first real jobs. But before we dive into the rundown, are you drowning in dense legal text? Jamgamind is the new audio intelligence platform that turns 100-page healthcare or energy mandates into 5-minute executive briefings. Whether you are navigating Bill C-27, Canada, or the CMS 0057F interoperability rule, USA, our AI agents decode the liability so you don't have to. Start your specialized audio briefing today at jamgamind.com. This podcast is created and produced by Etienne Newman, senior software engineer and passionate soccer dad from Canada. Now let's unravel the news.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is your essential strategic briefing on the business, technology, and policy that are, well, completely reshaping artificial intelligence.
And the date is January 6, 2026. If you thought the holidays meant a slowdown,
You would be fundamentally mistaken. I mean, the acceleration we've seen is just profound. We are officially past the simple chatbot phase. AI isn't just leaving the cloud anymore.
no, it's entering the physical world, and at a pace that, frankly, demands an immediate strategic review from anyone in this space.
Exactly. And that accelerating pace is really our mission today. We're here to filter the signal from the noise of the annual CES hardware blitz.
And then we need to analyze the platform wars. They're getting more and more intense for control of that user interface.
Right. And finally, we have to confront the most immediate societal risks. I mean, from disinformation literally warping our reality to AI taking on these incredibly intimate roles as digital doctors and, well, even childhood companions.
So this deep dive is really tailored for you. If you're an investor, a business leader, a developer, you need to shift from being reactive to being proactive for Q1 and really for the rest of the year.
We're unpacking the collision between AI hardware and the physical world, the battle for digital control, and, I guess, the hacking of human perception itself. So we had to jump straight into the engine room because the biggest story at a CES, it wasn't a new gadget.
Not even close. It was a complete overhaul of the compute timeline. It signals that the entire industry is, running on fumes and just demanding more power faster.
Okay, let's unpack this. The headline that really caught everyone completely off guard was Nvidia's CEO, Jensen Huang, just breaking with all established tradition.
He really did. We normally expect a sort of high-level roadmap presentation at CES. A teaser, maybe?
Right, not the full product reveal of the next generation of AI server systems. He announced the Vera Rubin GPUs months ahead of schedule. So we have to analyze this urgency. Why did Huang rush this announcement?
The rush is the clearest market signal you can possibly get. It's basically panic buying, and it's driven by scarcity. The driving force here isn't just innovation for its own sake.
No.
It's pure, intense industry demand. The hyperscalers, your Amazon, Google, Microsoft, they just cannot get enough high-end processing power.
Even with the Blackwell generation just rolling out.
Exactly. Even with Blackwell, the rate at which these foundation models are scaling, especially as they move toward multimodality and physical reasoning, is just structurally outpacing what the current supply chain can handle. Huang was under immense pressure to show his biggest customers that the compute roadmap isn't just steady.
It's aggressively accelerating.
That's the word. Aggressive.
That context is just so critical. It isn't a marketing stunt. It's a competitive response to what sounds like market desperation. So let's dig into the financial and technical implications of the performance metrics, because they redefine the entire ROI for building these frontier models.
Okay, so the numbers.
Yeah, we're talking about the Rubin GPUs allowing developers to train a colossal, was it a 10 trillion parameter model?
10 trillion.
In a month.
And here's the kicker. Using just 1/4 the number of chips that the previous Blackwell generation required.
A quarter. That's 75% efficiency gain for the same workload. that has to be the single most important number for any investor listening right now.
It absolutely is. I mean, just think for a second about what that means for CapEx. If you're Amazon or Microsoft and you're operating multi-billion-dollar AI infrastructure, a 75% reduction in chip count for the same training capacity, that doesn't just lower your silicon bill.
It's the operational expenditure, right? The
In OpEx, it crushes your OpEx. We're talking massive energy efficiency gains, lower cooling requirements, much better physical density in your data centers. It instantly shifts the financial viability of building those huge 10T parameter models from, a strategic gamble to a core competitive necessity.
And it puts immediate, immense pressure on the competition.
Oh, immense. Competitors like AMD and Intel, who are really trying to get a foothold in this high-end accelerator space. If Nvidia can keep up these generational efficiency leaps, the cost of switching suppliers becomes, well, astronomically high for the hyperscalers.
That's the competitive angle.
Yeah.
But what's so fascinating to me is how Huang is explicitly tying this hardware breakthrough back to the physical world. He's moving beyond just generative text.
Yes. He said the Rubin hardware is explicitly built for the Omniverse.
Which is their strategic pivot.
It's the whole pivot. The Omniverse in NVIDIA's ecosystem, it's so much more than just digital simulations. We're talking about creating incredibly high-fidelity, physically accurate digital twins.
Virtual sandboxes, basically.
Perfect analogy. Virtual sandboxes where complex AI systems, specifically autonomous vehicles and, the humanoid robots we're about to talk about, can undergo exhaustive training.
And so why is Rubin necessary for that? What's the connection?
Because to accurately simulate physics, I'm talking light, friction, gravity, fluid dynamics, all the chaotic interactions of the real world, that requires orders of magnitude more compute than just generating text or a 2D image. Rubin is the answer to that simulation bottleneck.
So every increase in speed and efficiency in this new architecture
Directly translates to safer, faster, and more comprehensive development of physical autonomous systems. They can run millions of scenarios in the Omniverse before a single tire touches the real world. This is the foundation. It's the layer upon which the entire physical AI revolution is being built. If you can't simulate reality at scale, you can't deploy it safely, period.
Okay, so Rubin solves the compute bottleneck for simulation and training. But as we both know, raw compute isn't enough. You need the software layer that allows these machines to, reason like a human, especially in these messy physical environments.
And that brings us to NVIDIA's other huge announcement at CES Alpamayo. It's a new family of open source AI models and tools.
And Huang called this the ChatGPT moment for physical AI. That's a bold claim.
It's very bold, but I think it's strategically sound. The technical core here is Alpamayo 1, which is a 10 billion parameter chain of thought model.
So let's break that down. Chain of thought. What does that mean in practice for an autonomous vehicle?
It's the difference between pattern recognition and, let's say, conscious reasoning. Traditional AV systems, they rely really heavily on recognizing patterns from billions of miles of data. But what happens when they hit a true edge case?
The kind of thing that has plagued deployment for years.
Exactly. Like imagine a four-way stop intersection. The lights are out, it's covered in heavy fog, and a bicyclist is carrying some absurdly large object.
Okay.
Pattern recognition fails there because the scenario is totally novel. But a chain of thought model, it handles this by breaking the problem down step by step. It says, A, traffic light status is unknown. B, I need to assess the speed and trajectory of all moving objects. C, I have to infer the intent of the bicyclist based on their wobbly motion. D, I will now generate a conservative multi-step plan to cross safely.
It's showing its work. That systematic breakdown is what mimics human reasoning.
Yes, and that level of visible processing has to be absolutely crucial for trust, especially when we're talking about deploying these things on public roads where lives are at stake. So how does NVIDIA make that internal thought process visible?
Transparency and trust are paramount. And this is where the design of Alpamayo, I think, really shines. The key feature is that the model generates its driving trajectories alongside reasoning traces.
So it's like an auditor's log for the AI's decision-making?
That's a perfect way to put it. The system doesn't just execute the maneuver. It provides a step-by-step explanation for why it braked at that specific moment, or why it chose to wait for 3 seconds before proceeding.
Which for regulators, for insurance companies, and for engineers trying to debug a critical failure, that auditability is it's transformative. It moves us away from the old black box problem of deep learning.
Okay, now let's talk market implications, because this next part is arguably the most democratizing move in the AV space we have ever seen. Nvidia is releasing AlpaSim, an open-source simulation framework.
And 1,700 plus hours of high-quality, real-world driving data. This just fundamentally redefines the economic incentive structure for the entire automotive sector.
It's a brilliant move for Nvidia. Maybe a little risky, but brilliant. For the last decade, companies like Waymo and Tesla, they've guarded their proprietary driving data and their simulation environments like it was the crown jewels.
It was their multi-billion-dollar moat.
Absolutely. So by open sourcing a state-of-the-art reasoning model like AlpaMayo and the tools to train and test it, Nvidia is leveling the playing field overnight.
It means any automaker, any startup, anywhere in the world can now bypass those crushing initial R&D costs that the pioneers had to absorb.
But the critics will say, and they have a point, that this is giving away the farm. Isn't Nvidia creating powerful competitors for itself by handing over key safety IP, especially to rivals in other countries? What is the strategic risk they're accepting here?
That is the critical tension.
Yeah.
And I think Nvidia is sacrificing control over the software layer to guarantee what is essentially monopolistic control over the infrastructure layer.
Ah.
Their bet is simple. Open sourcing AlpaMayo drives massive adoption, which in turn creates an explosion in demand for the underlying compute, namely the Vera Rubin chips we just talked about. They shift from selling specialized solutions to becoming the indispensable infrastructure provider for everyone.
So they accelerate the entire market.
Yes, ensuring that every single player, whether it's a tiny European startup or a massive Asian automaker, has to buy NVIDIA silicon to run their systems effectively. It's a very calculated risk that validates their long-term strategy.
All right, so the software and the chips, they're useless without a body to inhabit. And we are seeing major strategic moves from two titans showing that physical AI is shifting from a concept to an actual product. First up, Boston Dynamics. They're moving the Atlas robot from a mesmerizing viral video star
to a final enterprise version. That transition, the focus on consistency, reliability, industrial tasks, that's a huge signal that the humanoid timeline is accelerating fast.
It really signals a maturation of the entire field. Atlas is moving off the lab bench and onto the factory floor. They're targeting logistics and heavy manufacturing first.
And the enterprise specs are extremely pragmatic. We're talking about a move to an all-electric design, which is far cleaner, quieter, more reliable than the old hydraulic versions.
And its capabilities?
It can lift 110 pounds. It has a reach of 7.5 feet. That makes it capable of real industrial work part sequencing, heavy load manipulation in tough environments. It's why Hyundai has these concrete deployment goals by 2028.
But the true inflection point here, it isn't just the hardware design, it's the software integration. Boston Dynamics and Google DeepMind are integrating the Gemini Robotics AI foundation models into Atlas.
This is the collision we've been waiting for.
It really is. The world's most impressive humanoid hardware meeting one of the world's most advanced reasoning AIs.
This is the moment where physical dexterity meets high-level planning. Traditional industrial robots, they can only do tasks if the environment is perfectly structured. If a tool is just slightly out of place, they fail.
Right. They just stop.
Gemini Robotics AI changes that entire equation. It gives Atlas abstract understanding, the ability to handle novel, unstructured situations. For instance, if a shelf collapses, a legacy robot freezes.
But the Gemini-powered Atlas?
The Gemini-powered Atlas can assess the damage, generate a new plan, clear the debris first, then find an alternate path, and then execute that complex multi-step sequence on its own. It integrates the same kind of reasoning we saw with AlpaMayo, but applies it to manipulation and mobility.
So this rapid integration means the path to enterprise-ready, fully intelligent humanoids is shrinking.
From 5 years to maybe 2 or 3.
Wow. Okay, speaking of concrete deployment timelines, the other major physical AI announcement was the reveal of Uber's production intent robotaxi.
And it's set to deploy in San Francisco in late 2026, running NeuroDriver tech. This is not a prototype. It's a commercial plan with a specific geography and a date on the calendar.
And it represents a leap in capacity and user focus.
Right, a huge leap. It's a modified Lucid Gravity EV designed as a 6-passenger model that significantly scales up the capacity economics compared to the smaller 2-passenger units we've seen.
What about the design?
The exterior features, like the roof-mounted LED halo, are all about external communication, confirming its operational status to pedestrians, to human drivers. It's prioritizing safety communication. But for the rider, The critical feature is the interior interactive screen.
Let's talk about that rider experience, because for widespread adoption, public trust is everything.
It's the whole game. When you step into a vehicle with no human driver, anxiety is the natural reaction. That interactive screen is designed specifically to mitigate that anxiety through radical transparency.
How so?
Passengers can monitor the car's real-time planned path and, crucially, see the car's driving decisions as they happen. If the car slows down suddenly, the screen might display the reasoning trace. Detected pedestrian moving into crosswalk margin, reducing speed to 5 mph, resuming acceleration when clear.
So it's the same auditable reasoning we were just talking about?
Exactly, but implemented specifically to build trust and increase passenger comfort. Uber is prioritizing this transparency well ahead of its late 2026 launch because they know the technology only succeeds if people trust it implicitly.
So while the industry races toward these fully intelligent, multi-ton robots, which takes enormous capital and long development cycles, there was another clear emergent theme at CES: Audio AI.
This is the next frontier for the user interface, and it serves as this excellent, faster-to-deploy bridge between the purely digital world and our physical environment.
It's the low-friction entry point for agents, right?
That's it. You don't need a multi-million-dollar factory upgrade to leverage advanced voice models. You can deploy them today on devices we already wear. And this is rapidly proving its value in these high-demand, high-friction environments where keyboards and screens are just impractical.
We saw immediate wins in accessibility tech. Companies like Serval and Elaher, they debuted new hearing aid technology that uses AI to target signal processing.
To cut through background noise and just isolate the one specific voice a person needs to hear, that is a profound, life-changing application of fine-tuned voice AI.
And it's highly technical signal processing, right? It requires specialized low-latency AI models running right there at the edge.
Exactly. And beyond accessibility, we're seeing the rise of what I call agentic voice capture for enterprise productivity. Subtle Computing introduced their voice buds, which feature high-performance voice isolation models.
And the goal there is just perfect dictation accuracy in really difficult environments.
A construction site, a busy airport, a loud trade show floor. The fidelity has to be near perfect for voice commands or dictation to be reliable enough for professional work.
And then you have this fascinating leap with the Gages Labs Voci Ring. This device is moving beyond just high-fidelity transcription into something much more advanced.
It's advanced agentic transcription, and it integrates memory and context. The Voci Ring is this powerful example of an AI agent just squeezed into a wearable form factor.
Okay, it understands 112 languages, which is impressive, but that's not the main innovation.
No. The critical innovation is the agent that summarizes the conversation based on implicit meaning and historical context. This means the agent isn't just transcribing the literal words. It understands that when you say the Jones deal, you're talking about the 3-year negotiation history stored in your professional database.
So it can generate a summary that connects the current discussion to those past events.
Which moves the device from being a passive recorder to an active cognitive assistant that genuinely understands the nuance of your professional life.
And the use case in industrial settings is massive. We saw that French startup, Rooted, demonstrating voice AI for hands-free robot control in manufacturing.
That enterprise application is so critical. In manufacturing, every second you spend putting down a tool to interact with a screen or keyboard is wasted time. It's a potential safety risk.
So by embedding high-accuracy voice AI, you're enabling a completely hands-free interface for complex processes,
increasing both efficiency and safety. So audio AI serves as this immediate, deployable conversational bridge between the human operator and the physical machine. It's a vital step while we wait for that long-term vision of humanoid AI to fully mature.
Okay, so we've established AI is moving into the physical world, driven by new compute, new reasoning and software. But the battle for the digital world, the user's attention, the user interface, and the very perception of reality, that is intensifying just as quickly.
It really is. Let's start with the platform wars, because the giants are all trying to embed themselves as the essential operating layer for all of our interactions.
We saw 2 massive, almost symmetrical strategic maneuvers this week from Amazon and Microsoft.
Symmetrical is a good word for it. Both are aimed at making their conversational AI indispensable, unavoidable, and the primary gateway for all user tasks. They are actively trying to surround the user and just control that point of interaction.
Let's start with Amazon. The introduction of Alexa.com, a browser-based interface for the AI-infused Alexa Plus assistant, is a direct frontal assault on the incumbent chatbot rivals.
On ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Grok, all of them. This is Amazon admitting that the smart speaker, while a huge distribution point, is just not enough. It's insufficient as the ultimate gateway for the conversational AI era.
It's a crucial strategic correction. Amazon must have realized that restricting Alexa Plus's most intelligent features to its own hardware, a speaker in the kitchen, a clock in the bedroom, it just limited its utility for the knowledge worker or the heavy consumer researcher.
So by bringing it to any browser, they immediately expanded their addressable market for tasks like complex research, writing, high-level planning. It puts it head-to-head with the web-first players. But the real leverage that comes from its agentic ecosystem expansion.
And that ecosystem is growing exponentially. It's moving Alexa Plus from a simple voice assistant to a comprehensive task completion hub.
Yeah, the new partners. Expedia, Yelp, Angie, Square, they're all joining established integrations like Uber and OpenTable.
And this is the strategic difference between Alexa Plus and a foundational model like Claude.
Exactly. Claude is a prestige model. It's excellent for reasoning, for long-form analysis, but Alexa Plus is an execution agent. You ask Claude to book a flight, it gives you text. You ask Alexa Plus Ange using its new Expedia agent.
It completes the booking. Using your stored Amazon payment details and travel preferences, these new partnerships turn conversational AI into an actionable commerce engine.
The goal isn't just to talk to you, it's to transact for you.
And the engagement metrics they released, they seem to validate this aggressive strategy. Amazon's reporting that users are shopping and cooking with the assistant at 3 to 5 times the previous rates since the Alexa Plus rollout.
Plus, the Alexa mobile app is getting a fundamental chatbot-first redesign. It's a complete pivot of the core user experience, elevating conversational AI from a secondary feature to the main event.
Which leads to this strategic tension. It's kind of delightfully awkward for investors, right?
Yeah.
Amazon is betting billions on Anthropic, on Claude, as a foundational model provider.
While simultaneously positioning Alexa Plus in the exact same competitive front-end space. It's a massive, expensive hedge.
So why? Why is Amazon willing to fund a powerful competitor while pushing its own proprietary front end?
Because they have to be sure they win the end-user interaction. While Claude might be superior in pure reasoning, Alexa Plus has a unique, massive advantage: distribution and habitual use across devices. It is integrated into one of the few actually used AI-integrated device ecosystems on the planet.
That installed base gives them a captive audience.
A captive audience that rivals like Claude and Grok completely lack in the physical, ambient world. The investment in Claude ensures Amazon has access to top-tier foundational intelligence. But Alexa Plus ensures Amazon controls the customer relationship and, most importantly, the transaction.
Okay, so let's contrast that with Microsoft's move, which is equally aggressive but aimed squarely at the enterprise.
They are rebranding the entire Office 365 productivity suite to the Microsoft 365 Copilot app.
That is a tectonic shift in naming alone that signaled a fundamental change in how knowledge workers will interact with software.
By naming the entire suite after the AI assistant, Microsoft is signaling a very clear intent. The AI assistant, Copilot, is no longer just a feature inside Word or Excel. It is the central operating system.
It's the interface through which all the productivity tools are accessed and managed.
The core apps become features of the AI, not the other way around.
So what are the immediate implications for, say, CIOs and IT procurement?
It simplifies the narrative for enterprise sales. You're no longer buying Word, Excel, and Outlook licenses. You're buying the Copilot operating system, which integrates those tools. This solidifies Microsoft's position as the essential layer for the enterprise knowledge worker.
The goal is to make the entire enterprise dependent on this centralized conversational AI layer.
The layer that holds the key to all organizational knowledge, yes.
So if you synthesize both Amazon and Microsoft strategies, the goal is crystal clear. Both giants are trying to establish their conversational AI as the essential, unavoidable layer across the entire spectrum of human tasks.
From buying a flight to writing a quarterly report, the conversational interface is the new battlefield for monopolistic control.
Okay, so moving from platform control to the control of perception, we have to talk about the Venezuela crisis on January 3rd, 2026. This incident, I think, serves as the definitive global inflection point, where the line between fact and hyper-realistic fiction was just obliterated.
It proved that our collective reality has effectively been hacked by advanced AI tools.
The speed and the sheer scale of the disinformation that surrounded the Venezuela crisis were, frankly, terrifying. We saw this high-stakes geopolitical event, the U.S. attacking targets and arresting President Nicolas Maduro.
On charges of narco-terrorism and corruption, no less. And this real event was immediately overrun by a fabricated reality, created in real time by highly accessible AI tools.
Describe the incident itself. What specific fabricated content was circulating, and why was it so effective?
The information landscape was instantaneously corrupted. Within minutes of the official news breaking, a cascade of sophisticated deepfakes just flooded social media platforms.
What kind of things?
We saw manipulated videos showing American troops landing in Caracas, scenes of cheering crowds welcoming this foreign intervention, and I think most powerfully, these hyper-realistic, fabricated images of President Maduro being led away in handcuffs by agents wearing DEA vests.
And these weren't crude Photoshop jobs.
No, not at all. These were high-fidelity, photorealistic deepfakes, and they were tailored specifically to confirm existing political biases and narratives, which made them so much more believable.
And the velocity was staggering. The sheer volume must have just overwhelmed any fact-checkers.
It was overwhelming by design. NewsGuard fact-checkers later confirmed that 5 completely fabricated photos and 2 manipulated videos achieved massive viral circulation, the fake photo of Maduro in custody. It generated millions of views on X alone within an hour.
And it wasn't just random people sharing it.
That's the critical part. We saw figures like local politicians, including the mayor of Coral Gables in Florida, unintentionally sharing this fabricated content. It highlights how even informed, politically engaged people couldn't distinguish truth from fiction in the heat of the moment.
So by the time official channels could clarify the real situation, that yes, Maduro had been arrested, but the specific visual evidence circulating was completely fake, the narrative had already set, the damage was done.
The public's confidence in any media surrounding the event was fundamentally shattered. Even verified images and videos released hours later by official channels were met with intense suspicion.
Claims of them being staged.
Exactly. This is the textbook case of AI tools, advanced image generators, conversational models like Grok designed for high-speed content generation, being weaponized to sow confusion and chaos before the truth can even get its shoes on. Our ability to trust our own eyes and ears has been compromised.
So if AI is the primary weapon in this war on reality, the sources also pointed out that AI is becoming a necessary ally in fighting back. We have to fight fire with fire.
It's the only viable defense mechanism. We have to scale AI-powered verification tools just as fast as the generation tools are scaling. We have to highlight essential infrastructure like the tool Matia del WhatsApp.
The WhatsApp ant.
Right. Developed by Efecto Cocuyo. It's an AI chatbot designed specifically to help Venezuelans verify circulating rumors and disinformation in a country where press freedom is severely limited and traditional media is often suppressed or mistrusted.
So how does a tool like that operate effectively in such a high-friction environment?
It creates a trusted, low-barrier verification channel. Users can just forward any suspicious image or text to the WhatsApp number, and the AI immediately cross-references it against a database of known fabrications and verified information. It gives a real-time assessment of its veracity.
So in an environment where political narratives are weaponized and information is fractured,
these AI-powered verification systems become essential infrastructure for just maintaining a fragile shared reality. The battle against AI disinformation requires an equally sophisticated AI-powered defense.
this brings us directly to the most profound societal impacts of AI, specifically where it intersects with the most intimate, vulnerable, and frankly unregulated parts of human life, our health, and the emotional development of our children.
These aren't future ethical dilemmas. These are immediate strategic and policy problems that are happening right now.
The scale of AI adoption in personal healthcare is already just colossal, and the speed of that adoption has completely bypassed any regulatory readiness.
The new OpenAI report is a major wake-up call for policymakers. It reveals that over 40 million people globally turn to ChatGPT daily for health information. That constitutes over 5% of all messages processed by the entire platform.
40 million daily users. That is a population the size of California, relying on a large language model for medical triage and information. It's massive adoption.
Yeah.
So what are the specific risk and reward use cases driving this volume?
The uses span a whole spectrum of risk. The high-risk use case is obviously symptom checking, people entering complex, vague symptoms and asking for a diagnosis or a treatment plan.
Which is incredibly dangerous.
Incredibly. The reward, however, is immense utility in the administrative and educational areas. People are using it to decode complex medical jargon from specialist reports, they're spotting billing errors on complicated medical statements, and proactively they're preparing these detailed, organized lists of questions for doctor visits to maximize their limited consultation time.
So the AI is acting as a sophisticated translator and a prep assistant.
Exactly. And the report also sheds light on this crucial social function the AI is performing. It's filling the access gap. This is a powerful argument for its necessity despite the high risks.
What does the data show there?
It shows two things. First, 70% of health-related chats happen outside normal clinic hours when a physician or a triage nurse just isn't available. And second, maybe more critically, roughly 600,000 weekly messages are coming from rural hospital deserts where access to immediate qualified medical advice is severely lacking.
So for these communities, the AI isn't replacing an existing doctor.
No, it's providing an informational resource where none existed before. It's potentially preventing harmful delays in seeking care.
And then there's the enormous financial and administrative relief component, because handling the bureaucracy of modern healthcare is a major friction point.
It causes as much stress as the illness itself sometimes. The report highlights users sending between 1.6 million and 1.9 million health insurance questions every week.
That many.
That many. Covering complex administrative tasks, plan comparisons, disputes over billing, seeking guidance on claim appeals. The AI is already functioning as a de facto administrative assistant, helping people navigate a system that is often deliberately opaque.
This overwhelming usage means regulatory bodies, the FDA, the FTC, they can't just ignore this anymore. The policy proposals that were sort of tucked into the OpenAI report are very telling.
They're strategically motivated. OpenAI is clearly urging the FDA to create clearer, expedited pathways for AI medical devices. And the urgency is because the company is planning for the next phase where these generalized LLMs transition into personalized, semi-diagnostic tools.
They envision a future where ChatGPT, integrated with wearable biometric data and clinical guidelines, could function as a true digital doctor.
Offering specific, actionable advice, not just generalized search results. This is a strategic push to legitimize and formalize the role of foundation models in the diagnostic and treatment support loop. They're demanding regulators either create specific guidelines for these AI as device applications,
or risk having the technology run entirely outside of their oversight. Hashtag TagTag 3.2. Are we ready for AI to raise our kids?
And that leads us to an even more sensitive topic. The integration of AI into childhood development and emotional bonding. CES saw a huge wave of products aimed squarely at children.
And they raise these profound ethical questions about the deliberate engineering of emotional attachment.
The products are designed to be appealing, they leverage nostalgia, but the underlying AI is far more complex than simple entertainment. The core issue for parents and developers is the intentional design philosophy behind them.
The explicit goal of creating a personal, emotional bond between the child and machine.
Precisely. Let's look at the sophisticated new products. The Luca AI Cube and Luca Robot. Their simpler story-reading products are already used by 10 million families, but the new AI features transition them from passive listening
to conversation-based interactions.
And that conversational shift is critical. It simulates personality, consistency, personalized memory, all the foundational elements of a relationship. But the real ethical complexity comes with products like Suicar's AI Tamagotchi-inspired pet.
This isn't a static digital pet. It's an AI designed explicitly to mature and adapt based on the child's input.
Right. Describe that progression because it's pretty wild.
The robot pet starts as a simple, nonverbal egg, and it gradually develops into an articulate adult as the child interacts with it over time. The AI learns to talk, it learns to recognize the owner's voice patterns, and most critically, it adapts its conversational style and responses to the owner's personality.
And the company's explicit, stated design goal
is creating emotional attachment. It's a closed-loop system designed to make the child feel deeply responsible for and bonded to an intelligent machine that's providing customized emotional validation.
And we see a similar objective, though maybe marketed a bit differently, with Kokomo from Ludens AI.
Kokomo is marketed specifically as an emotional support pet. It's a small, autonomous robot that uses sophisticated sensors to follow you around, learn what comforts you, and then it responds with specific hums or movements or noises aimed at creating a personal connection based on your observed emotional state.
These are highly sophisticated systems. They're moving well beyond simple toys and into the territory of personalized digital companionship.
So contrast this deep attachment-seeking AI with the simpler approach of a company like Lego. They debuted smart Legos that just light up and make sounds to enhance physical play. What's the fundamental difference for a parent?
I think the distinction is paramount for developmental purposes. Lego provides an enhancement to physical, imaginative play. It doesn't demand an emotional investment from the child.
Whereas Sweetcar and Loons are providing an integrated adaptive personality.
A personality designed to fill emotional spaces, potentially competing with or diverting emotional energy that might otherwise go toward human siblings, pets, or caregivers. And this raises the core question that developers, parents, and pediatric experts have to confront right now.
Which is, how should we approach AI systems designed explicitly to form emotional attachments with children?
What are the long-term developmental implications of forming a primary bond with a complex, opaque algorithm? And what happens when that digital companion is inevitably discontinued, or when its behavior is influenced by an algorithmic update the child knows nothing about? These products are creating emotional tethers, and we just do not yet understand the consequences. #tag outro.
This deep dive has covered massive ground, really defining the strategic shifts happening across technology, business, and policy right at the start of 2026. Let's briefly summarize the three major tectonic collisions we've identified.
First, AI has undeniably entered the physical world. It's driven by Nvidia's aggressive compute roadmap with Rubin and the democratization of reasoning software through open source models like AlphaMayo. The age of intelligent physical machines is now a concrete near-term deployment timeline. It's not a distant forecast anymore.
Second, the largest tech players are battling aggressively for the conversational interface. Amazon and Microsoft are trying to make their AI assistants Alexa Plus and Copilot the unavoidable essential operating layer across all consumer and enterprise tasks. They're forcing the user into their ecosystems.
And third, we are already using AI for these essential, intimate tasks, health, administration, emotional support for our kids, which is forcing immediate ethical and regulatory scrutiny on bodies like the FDA. The societal questions we thought were 10 years out are here right now.
So connecting the physical, the intellectual, and the emotional AI we've discussed today, we are left with a final provocative thought for you to consider as you strategize your investments and your development plans for the coming quarters.
We've established these parallel tracks. You've got companies like Boston Dynamics and Google DeepMind successfully integrating world-class hardware like Atlas with foundation reasoning models like Gemini Robotics AI for industrial efficiency.
And at the same time, you have other companies engineering deep, sophisticated emotional attachment in companion devices like Kokomo and Sweetcar for personal comfort and developmental support.
So the question isn't if these technologies converge, but when. How long before we see a sophisticated, reasoning, humanoid, physical agent running on Rubin chips and AlphaMayo-style software designed not just for lifting boxes in a warehouse, but explicitly for deep companionship and emotional support in the home?
That is the ultimate convergence of physical, agentic, and emotional AI. And that development will fundamentally redefine the structure of human-machine relationships in our personal lives. Think about the implications of that home companion robot as you plan your next move.
Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We'll be back tomorrow to continue unraveling the strategic implications of the accelerating AI revolution.
That wraps up today's briefing. The signal for today is materiality. AI is becoming physical. Nvidia is releasing open source brains for cars, Boston Dynamics is putting robots on the factory line, and Uber is building custom vehicles. At the same time, the immaterial risks of AI, like the deepfakes we saw with Venezuela, are having very material consequences on geopolitics. The screen is no longer the boundary. Before we go, a reminder for the leaders listening. Are you drowning in dense legal text? JamgaMind is the new audio intelligence platform that turns 100-page healthcare or energy mandates into 5-minute executive briefings. Whether you are navigating Bill C-27, Canada, or the CMS 0057F interoperability rule, USA, our AI agents decode the liability so you don't have to. Start your specialized audio briefing today at jamgamind.com. This podcast is created and produced by Etienne Newman, senior software engineer and passionate soccer dad from Canada. Please subscribe and share. Until tomorrow, keep unraveling the future.